open council meeting.
Do you need to put it on?
First we need this.
Okay.
We've got lots of time.
Gotcha.
Back to Kristen. Yeah.
Kristen, the ball's in your court.
So with the presentation of the 2011 audited financial statements, and considering council's discussions in closed meeting with the auditor, I would like to recommend that council accept the audited financial statements as at December 31st, 2011.
So moved. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Our next item of business is public comment.
We have 2 members of the public that would like to speak. Okay, we have 3. The first speaker is Ian Henley. There you are.
Stay there. Well, I kind of came here on the warpath, you might say. Because I went to that public meeting, a town hall meeting, which is an apt description. And I had the opportunity to speak at that meeting. And I was quite impressed by the number of people who spoke. However, like this meeting, I was among the first to line up. And by the time I finished, a number of others had the opportunity to speak. And I was disappointed to see that one person who's been involved with Bowen Island for many years took it upon himself to criticize Wolfgang. And he took it upon himself to criticize Wolfgang and also, by association, what's his name? Underhill. Richard Underhill. Sorry, I'm losing it, you know. I actually worked out today, so I'm feeling pretty good. But anyway, he picked on those people by saying that they were going to cost the island money. Well, the fact of the matter is that the people who opposed Wolfgang and others knew very well, and everybody on Bowen Island must have known, because they made that an important issue in the campaign, that here was somebody running for office who was suing Bowen Island. And what do you think happened? He led the poll. It didn't matter a whit that he was suing the Bowen Island. And in fact, many of those who supported him probably were aware of the reason why he was suing Bowen Island. It was on a matter of principle that the previous council did not obey the provisions of the Local Government Act in respect to passing the OCP. And they also did not give proper hearing for the 3 bylaws. Now, I might say that those bylaws were held before a public hearing with there are traffic lights up there, 5 minutes to talk about 4 bylaws. 5 minutes. I was the only one who took the advantage of going to the back of the line about 3 times or 4 times, and I spoke 5 times for 5 minutes each. And that wasn't enough. I pointed out a number of the failures and the faults in those bylaws, and that previous council went ahead and passed those bylaws, except for 2 of them. We'd already made a point of not dealing with those. So the end result was that they pushed it so fast that the council did not comply with the requirements of the Local Government Act. And quite rightly, and that isn't the first thing they've done, which could have resulted in huge damages. Wolfgang and Dick Underhill were not suing for damages. All they wanted to do was to have Bowen Council follow the requirements of the Local Government Act. They weren't in it for the money. Now, why Council didn't follow the recommendation, I know why, because they didn't have time. They wanted to get that passed before the end of the council term. So they went ahead and did it. Wolfgang and Dick Underhill went ahead with the lawsuit, and they went to the Supreme Court, and the judge, whose name I can't remember, but it's irrelevant, but that judge listened to the arguments, and he listened to an argument by counsel for the municipality, who took them off on a whole different path. And you know, I've been there, done that. I've been a judge, and I know what goes on behind the scenes. And anyway, that judge, in my view, I may be wrong, and he possibly had no experience with municipal matters. Most of them are involved with criminal justice. And it's quite likely he didn't understand what was going on, so he took the easy way out and said, well, this is premature. Come back after the bylaw has been passed, which is ridiculous. But that was the order. I was dumbfounded when I read it. I thought, what is our system coming to? So, while he didn't dismiss the claim as on the merits, he just said it's the wrong time, the wrong place. But then it looked like Wolfgang and Dick Underhill were going to have to pay costs for the council for Bowen Island, their costs. And I understand, they were getting prepared, and I haven't talked to Wolfgang about this. I understand they were getting prepared to deal with the matter, one way or another. And suddenly, the councils, or their solicitors, or somebody decided, well, that's not a very good idea. It's going to cost us even more money, and they may win. And so it would be a horrible mess for Bowen Island. So I think that what happened was they took the high road and said, I think this is what happened. They decided to pay or to forgive or forget about the municipality cost and charging them for that to end the matter. Otherwise, he would have been in deep doo-doo. Now, I just wanted to mention one other thing about lawsuits. And I just want to bring up something from the past. Many of the people here may remember the Islands Trust, and they may remember a fellow by the name of Murray Cypress. Murray Cypress was a developer and a logger, and he came from Salt Spring, and he bought all that land up above Adams Road and along Sunset Road, which was put in while the Islands Trust was there. He bought all that property, and then he decided he was going to subdivide that into 10-acre lots. Believe it or not, nobody objected to that. So the Islands Trust went along with that. Then he decided he wanted to clear cut that area, and he didn't have a place to dump his logs. Now you may understand my concerns at that time, and here, yeah, okay, that my concerns at that time. They contacted the Islands Trust. The Islands Trust trustee went down there to the bottom of the road, and they were all set to give them a temporary permit to use the bottom of Adams Road as a log dump right next to our house. And I had to hire a lawyer from Jonathan Baker, who was a municipal lawyer. And Jonathan got a hold of them and wrote a letter, and they decided they better not, because I was going to sue them for nuisance and damages. So they then decided to use the dump or use Seymour Landing for their dump. And that's what that landing was used for. It was a dump. And it was like that until Wolfgang took it over and fixed it up.
It was a log dump.
It was a log dump. Exactly. You couldn't use that place. Anyway, that's my story about my dealings with Bowen Island and the Islands Trust.
Next speaker is Rosemary Knight.
Great, thank you all. I'm here to read a letter from Bob Turner because he had to be at work today. Dear Mayor and Council, I write this letter to suggest to Council that you defer your discussion to rescind the Greenways Committee bylaw and terminate the current Greenways Committee. I suggest this action because I believe Council is at risk of being perceived by the community as not defending the public interest in the face of the interests of individual Council members. I've raised these concerns directly with Councillors Jennings, Duntz, and Morse during the last Town Hall meeting. The Greenways Committee has been a valued servant of Council and the community for years. Last autumn, BIM's staff brought to the attention of the Greenways Committee the fact that significant works had been done by Bowen Island Properties within Seymour Bay Landing Park, including tree cutting, bulldozing, and construction of a retaining wall and outfall. BIM's staff asked the committee for advice on how to mitigate the damage. The committee visited the site and in their January 2012 meeting provided Council with recommendations. These recommendations were that a simple replanting was not adequate, but rather that a new park be created. The committee recorded these recommendations in the minutes of their meeting in January 2012 and forwarded it to BIM's staff. However, for reasons not clear, the committee minutes of the January meeting were not included on a Council agenda in February, as is normal municipal practice. This was brought to the attention of BIM's staff by the chair of the Greenways Committee in March, but as to whether BIM's staff authorized the work in Seymour Bay Landing Park. Instead of Council dealing directly and transparently with the minutes containing recommendations from the Greenways Committee, Council is poised to rescind the Greenways bylaw and disband the Greenways Committee. Here is my concern. It may appear to the community that Council is disbanding the committee so as not to have to deal with the issue of damage done to the park. I believe the best path forward would be to defer this decision and for Council to receive the Greenways recommendations and direct staff to report on the circumstances of work done in Seymour Bay Park. That would put Council in a position to direct staff on necessary actions. Following that, it would be appropriate for Council to discuss the future of the Greenways Committee. Sincerely, Bob Turner.
At this point, I just want to give the public an update. Staff will be bringing forward the work for this council agenda regarding the Seymour Bay Municipal Park. I was confident that the developer has been following proper process, and that will be laid out in the report coming forward to our May 14th meeting. And if there's any other questions, anybody can contact me. Regarding the repealing of the Greenways bylaw, that was not due to Seymour Park. That was due to Council restructuring all our committees, as well as their original intention is to have the scope of the committee deal like the APC, where it's referrals from Council. All other committees of Council deal with referrals from Council. This was the one committee we didn't.
The next speaker is Will Husby.
Just a brief comment to Mayor and Council about the format of the agenda, this agenda. I would like to request that Council and Mayor return to the format of having the comments from the community at the beginning of the meeting. It's really difficult as someone who's working. I just saw Rosemary rushing off to catch a ferry. It's really difficult for members of the community to find the time to fit in the middle when we know it's not going to be at the exact timing that you folks say in the agenda. It comes to reason that you folks will have times that will lengthen or shorten. People can miss the chance to make their comments. And I would also like to ask Mayor, Council, and staff, why did you move to the middle of the the agenda this public chance. Oh, thank you. Yep.
So due to the appearance of our auditors and the only time frame that they were available was during that time frame, to get back on the next one. And it's a one-off. I think you would not normally see public comment embedded in the middle of the agenda.
That's very reassuring, Kathy. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
If I may, I'd like to answer that. No.
Lucy, do we have any other public speakers?
Nope,